Hi everyone, welcome back to Frugal Watchbox channel. In 2021, about 4 years ago, I picked up the Seiko 5 SNKK31K1 for around $70 US. Fast forward to today, and the price has jumped to about $115. Not exactly Bitcoin level gains, but hey, that's still a solid increase. I wore this watch for months, enjoying every bit of its sleek red and black speed racer dial, before eventually deciding to tuck it away in a box. You know, to keep it pristine and maybe cash in on its value later. But did that work out? Well, let's just say life happens, and now it's back on my wrist, scratches and all. Speaking of scratches, the 38mm case is just perfect for my small wrist. And despite a few battle scars, I'd say they add character rather than ruin it. The recessed crown at 4 o'clock keeps things sleek, and the watch is powered by the legendary Seiko 7S26 movement. A tough workhorse that doesn't hack or hand-wind, but keeps ticking through just about anything. Protecting the dial is Seiko's Hardlex mineral crystal, tougher than regular mineral glass, but not quite sapphire. After 4 years, it's picked up some minor scratches, but nothing that stops it from looking great on the wrist. So after all this time, how's the SNKK31K1 holding up? Let's dive in. Alright, let's start by checking out the case. The SNKK31K1 features a full stainless steel case and bezel, giving it that classic Seiko durability. Covering the dial is Hardlex mineral crystal, a step up from regular mineral glass, but still not scratch-proof. After 4 years, mine has picked up a few marks, but nothing too serious. One of the standout design choices here is the recessed crown at 4 o'clock. It's a nice touch that helps maintain the case's smooth, rounded shape. No sharp edges sticking out. But there's a trade-off: it's tiny. Setting the time could be a bit of a struggle, especially if you've got short nails or cold fingers. Not a deal breaker, but something to keep in mind. Now let's talk dimensions. This watch has a very wearable 38mm case size, making it great for small to medium wrists. The lug-to-lug distance is about 44mm, giving it a balanced wrist presence without overhanging. It's around 11mm thick, which keeps it relatively slim for an automatic watch. The lug width is 20mm, so you've got plenty of strap options if you ever want to switch things up. And with the stainless steel bracelet, it weighs about 114 grams. Not too heavy, not too light, just the right amount of wrist presence. So, the case is well built, comfortable, and has that signature Seiko styling. Now, let's move on to the dial, which is easily one of the most eye-catching parts of this watch. The black and red dial gives off a bold, sporty look. Unlike some Seiko dials with a sunburst effect, this one has a matte finish, so it doesn't reflect much light, great for readability. Looking closer, you'll see that between the hour markers are small white lines, with 3 shorter lines intermingled between them. This gives the dial a bit of extra detail without looking cluttered. The red and gray color scheme runs from the 12 o'clock to the 4 o'clock position, adding to that speed racer aesthetic. The hour markers are well sized, with the one at 12 o'clock being the largest while the rest are slightly smaller. All of them are loomed, so night visibility isn't an issue. Below each hour marker, you'll find small numbers from 5 to 60, helping with minute tracking. From 12 to 4 o'clock, these numbers are red, while the rest are white, matching the white hour markers and hands for a clean, cohesive look. Right below the 12 o'clock marker sits the prominent Seiko 5 logo, instantly recognizable and reminding you that this is part of Seiko's legendary entry-level automatic lineup. The hour hand is short and bulky, featuring a large arrowhead tip that gives it a bold, rugged look. The minute hand, in contrast, is longer and more tapered, making it easy to differentiate at a glance. Both hands have lume in the center, ensuring good visibility in low light. One of the most interesting details is the needle-like red second hand. It's thin, long, and sharp, adding a dynamic touch to the dial. The red color perfectly matches the red section of the dial, reinforcing the sporty, racing-inspired theme. Watching it sweep across the matte black and red dial is oddly satisfying, giving the watch a more lively and energetic feel. At 3 o'clock, you'll find the day and date window, framed in white to blend with the white indices. Simple but effective for legibility. Moving down towards the 6 o'clock position, you'll see the words automatic and 21 joules printed, letting you know this watch runs on Seiko's in-house mechanical movement. And if you look all the way to the extreme bottom of the dial, you'll spot tiny imprints of the 7S26 movement and some reference numbers, a subtle detail that hardcore Seiko fans love to see. Overall, the dial design is a great mix of sporty and functional, with just enough unique details to keep things interesting. Now, let's move on to the bracelet and overall wearability. The SNKK31K1 comes with an oyster-style stainless steel bracelet. It's not the most elegant bracelet out there, but for this price point, it's actually pretty decent. It feels sturdy enough for daily wear while keeping that classic Seiko 5 charm. The design features a combination of polished and brushed finishes, adding just the right amount of contrast. It's not flashy, but it's also not completely dull. It strikes a good balance between casual and slightly dressy. However, don't expect solid links here. They're folded, which is typical for Seiko 5 models in this price range. That said, despite being a budget-friendly bracelet, it holds up well over time, staying comfortable and functional without feeling overly cheap. A nice touch is the large Seiko 5 logo on the clasp, giving it that signature Seiko branding. The clasp itself is a quick-release type, making it easy to take the watch on and off without much fuss. One of the most practical aspects of this bracelet is the underside, where you'll find plenty of sizing pins. This makes adjusting the bracelet super easy, ensuring a good fit for almost any wrist size. Whether you have a smaller wrist like mine or need a little extra room, this bracelet caters to all wrist sizes without needing a trip to the watch shop. Overall, it's a simple yet durable bracelet. Nothing too fancy, but it does the job well. If you're the type who prefers aftermarket straps, the 20mm lug width gives you plenty of options to switch things up. Now that we've covered the bracelet, let's move on to the case back. Seiko gives us a see-through case back, letting us admire the movement inside. The glass on the case back is also Hardlex crystal, just like the front, providing a bit more durability than standard mineral glass. While it won't completely resist scratches, it's still a nice touch for a watch at this price point. Through the display case back, you get a clear view of the 7S26 automatic movement. It's not the most decorated movement out there. Far from it, actually. Minimalistic and industrial, with no fancy engravings or Geneva stripes. But that's part of its charm. The 7S26 is built for reliability, not for show. It's a true workhorse, designed to last for years with little maintenance. One thing you'll notice is the clear imprints on the movement, including the Seiko logo and various reference numbers. It's a reminder that while this isn't a luxury-grade movement, it's still an in-house Seiko caliber, something that many budget-friendly automatic watches can't boast. Overall, the transparent case back adds a bit of fun to the watch, letting you appreciate the mechanics inside. It might not be a high-end Swiss movement, but it gets the job done, and that's what Seiko 5s are all about. Next, let's talk about how this watch actually feels on the wrist. With its 38mm case size and 44mm lug-to-lug, this watch sits just right on my 6.5-inch wrist. It's not too big, not too small. The perfect sweet spot for a classic everyday watch. The proportions feel well balanced, giving it a comfortable and versatile look that works in both casual and slightly dressier settings. The 11mm thickness means it doesn't sit too tall, easily sliding under a sleeve when needed. And at 114 grams with the stainless steel bracelet, it has just enough weight to feel solid on the wrist without being too heavy or cumbersome. The curved lugs help the watch hug the wrist nicely, making it feel natural to wear all day. Whether I'm on my desk, out running errands, or just relaxing, the SNKK31K1 never feels bulky or out of place. Overall, it's a comfortable, well-proportioned watch that works great for smaller to medium wrists. And thanks to the 20mm lug width, swapping out the bracelet for a leather or NATO strap is always an option if you want to change up the look. Now, let's see how the Lume holds up on the SNKK31K1. Seiko is known for its reliable Lume, and while this isn't a dive watch, it still does a decent job in the dark. The hour markers, hour hand, and minute hand are coated with Seiko's Lume Bright, which charges quickly under light and glows brightly at first. Since only the hour markers and the hour and minute hands have Lume, reading the time in low light is fairly easy. The 12 o'clock marker is the most prominent, making it simple to orient the watch in darkness. The Lume on the other markers is a bit smaller but still visible, and the hands glow well enough to track the time at a glance. After a full charge, the brightness is strong for the first hour or two, then gradually fades. It's not on the level of Seiko's dive watches, but for an everyday automatic, it's more than enough for practical use at night. With the Lume test done, let's move on to the final thoughts. Is this watch still worth it after 4 years? So, after 4 years, is the Seiko 5 SNKK31K1 still worth it? Absolutely. When I first bought this watch for around $70, it was already a solid deal. But now, with prices climbing to $115, it's clear that the Seiko 5 lineup is getting more appreciation, and for good reason. This watch has proven to be a reliable, no-fuss automatic timepiece with a sporty yet versatile design. The 7S26 movement, while basic, is a workhorse that has kept ticking with minimal maintenance. The matte black and red dial still looks great, showing just enough where to add character. The stainless steel case and bracelet have held up well, even with some scratches here and there. And while the recessed crown at 4 o'clock makes setting the time a bit tricky, it helps maintain that smooth, rounded case shape that makes the watch comfortable to wear. Of course, it's not perfect. The bracelet isn't solid, the crown is small, and the Lume fades after a few hours. But at this price, it's hard to complain. What you get is a reliable, automatic watch from Seiko with a classic design that still looks great years later. If you can find one today, I'd say it's still a great buy, whether for daily wear or as a collector's piece. And if you've already got one sitting in a box like I did, maybe it's time to take it out and enjoy it again. And hey, if you're looking to buy one, check out my merch store. I might have some watches up for sale. I think that's the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and giving it a like. It really helps out the channel. See you again in the next one. Bye for now.